Hi, I'm Danielle,
I'm Heather Estus,
and we're the founders of Quill House of Ink.
and we are so excited to share today at 1 Million Cups our vision and the mission of helping creators in Billings be inspired and keep on writing on pages and doing art.
Let's see, we're hearing today from Danielle, Dahl, and Heather Estus to speak about a new concept, Quill House of Ink.
Okay, so Heather and I are here to talk about Quill House of Ink, but before we do that, we just had a couple of quick questions for everybody. Raise your hand if you are a writer. Okay.
What if you ever thought about creating visual art or drawing?
Would you identify as a storyteller?
Have you ever jotted a couple lines of poetry?
Do you like to sketch? Okay.
Do you believe there's a book inside you that has not been written yet?
Okay. So
we get all their names after the
right?
Right.
Somebody please jot that down. So Quill House of Ink is a membership-based creative lounge where writers, artists, and makers gather to focus, create, and bring meaningful work into the world. And Heather had the brilliant idea for this space and brought it to me, and I was like, I want to be there.
Yeah.
We didn't know where there was yet,
yeah.
But I just was like, we need to be there.
So our vision is obviously to nurture and inspire creatives and writers specifically. This idea actually came to me through an idea that I saw on Instagram that was in Bozeman. It's called Pulphead. And it was a guy that created a space, and he just had this like drop in $5, all you can drink coffee and tea. And it was really for creators. But his concept was 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning, because sometimes those ideas spark right in the middle of the night, and we may not have a space to go to or have that safe space where we can create and write down the pages that we really want to write. So I thought we need to bring that to Billings. And also, how could I utilize my creative gifts of storytelling, speaking, and inspiring others in a safe space that felt warm and almost library-ish in a sense, nostalgic. So we're going to talk a little bit about what our mission is and how do we do that in a way that also is mutually beneficial, right? How do we create a business model around that?
So when we started talking and envisioning kind of what that would look like, I had a couple of thoughts, and it was, we really need these third spaces. Raise your hand if you're familiar with the third space and what that is. Okay. So
explain the third space.
I will. Yep.
I didn't know either.
So our primary space as people is our homes. Our second space as people is our workplace. And most of us, if we only hang out at home or in our workspace, we're missing out on other social opportunities, other opportunities to engage in creative activity, inclusion, social networking, not networking, but social connection. And so third spaces typically provide that.
Like Bitterroot is a third space.
Is a third space.
Switch Society is a third space.
Yep. Coffee shops, libraries.
Coffee shops, libraries.
So that was part of the reason why I was like, gosh, I need to be there, because for me personally, my house and my workspace are the same space. So I have one space.
Yeah.
And so I was like, gosh, I need to be here. And so as we started thinking, we were really trying to come up with what makes Quill different than some of these other third
A coffee
spaces.
shop.
Right.
Or the library.
Right. So at a coffee shop, you're going to go there. There's bright lights, there's noise, there's drive-through customers, there's people coming in and out constantly, right? It's a little more noisy, and I have a hard time creating in there. Does anybody else go to work in a coffee shop?
It's loud conversations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I don't love it. It's not my favorite thing. Yeah. And so when we were kind of envisioning what Quill would look like even the colors of these are not typical coffee shop colors. They're warm, they're earthy, they're creative, they're designed to help you feel safe. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of what we were thinking set us apart from a coffee shop. Now, when you think of the library, our library is a great space. There's comfortable seating. It's beautiful inside. But again, it's bright. It's industrial. There's just something
different
about
feel.
The way we envision the vibe inside Quill is it's kind of nostalgia, like an old reading room or an old study in in an old mansion.
with obviously modern electricity and
Yes.
Wi-Fi.
Yes, we will have those things. But so it's quiet enough, it's intimate enough, and it's curated enough.
So how does it work, right? Well, obviously we want it to be mutually beneficial, and it's a membership opportunity. Yes, anybody can come. We do have like the $5 drop-in rate. However, we wanted it to be more exclusive and create memberships for people that really cared about what they were going to create in our space. And so we've created membership tiers, Scribe, Guild, Vanguard, and of course the Alchemist Circle. I'll let Danielle kind of go through each of those.
And we'll come back to some of these. But what we wanted to talk about today briefly is the Alchemist Circle. And so each of these memberships has a way that you can participate in our events, contests, come and work in your own creative time. So we can answer
workshops
more questions about that later. Yeah. And there are discounts for these things. And this is kind of where I'm going to leave it for right now, and we'll answer questions about our hours and things like that.
Yeah, and also where's it at, right? So we were accepted via application to be in the space next to Thirsty Street. Used to be a tasting room called Undammed, if anybody's familiar with that, right? It's 500 square feet. So it's not that big, 15 to 20 people in there at the most. Obviously, when the weather's nice, the door opens and we'll have an outdoor area as well. Yeah.
Yep.
I know. Yeah.
Like, click, click, click.
Oh, the questions.
Author, founder, you know, that says friend.
Yes.
Okay. Is that our first question, technically?
Yes.
Okay.
So our branding is, artist, journalist, poet, editor, publisher, anything that you are in that world, you would be able to wear the shirt. So mine's author, and then on the back, obviously, it's our House of Ink. Very simple. Very nostalgic, but also adds to the revenue generation for us, including some very other simple items that we'll have to sell, including coffee cups, reading glasses, and of course journals. And then anything that you might need would be in the space. So if you're an artist and you want to sketch some things, we have sketchbooks or journals or writing paper and pens, and of course Quill with ink.
Love it. I like how you look at me when you said reading glasses.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yes, these are prototypes that Lexi created. Thank you. Questions about Quill.
Everybody jump in one.
So let me talk a little bit more about the other part is inspiration. Part of our memberships, I think it is our Vanguard, we're going to do monthly dinners that are themed around authors and poets and creators. So for example, in February, we'll have a whole Sex and the City theme. So all through that month, we'll be talking about journalism, different journalists, and then we will have an intimate dinner in our space for 10 people. Some of the memberships include that, but some are public, so you could purchase them, and a 4-course meal that is themed around an author. So for February, Toni Morrison, Black History Month, we would have the themed would be around Toni Morrison, and also we probably would have soul food. The Alchemist dinner is probably going to be a very Arabian Nights theme, right? So each month we'll have a theme around an author, a poet, or an artist or creator, and everybody, like I said, is open to coming to those. Yeah.
So you said it's a pretty small space. Was it basically just tables and chairs and different, or do you have any drinks or things like that are going on in the space?
Yes, thank you for asking. Of course, we have all-you-can-drink coffee and tea, but we also have a collaboration with Thirsty Street. So maybe you just celebrated finishing your first chapter at the Quill and you want to go celebrate. So in one of our memberships, you could go to there and you would have access to getting beer or wine in part of the membership, or soft drinks. Also, Michelle's Pantry is located in Thirsty Street, and we'll have a collaboration with Michelle, so there will also be food. So also our memberships will include food or bites or appetizers. So yes, you would have access to that. And of course, if you just wanted to go, maybe you need a little inspiration. Sometimes a glass of wine helps me to do that, so I might go before I open to Quill.
And then regarding seating, so we are envisioning a couple of papasands, kind of like this, in a corner, so you can be comfortable, relaxed.
Just reading your book?
Yep, there'll be a couch, so you can lay on the couch and read a book. There'll also be kind of a long table, a high-top long table with little stations. So if you wanted to sit and work in like a desk space, you can sit there. There'll also be a long table in the
Community
center,
table, yeah.
where people can sit as well. So there's kind of more work structured spaces and then more community spaces.
Right back here.
This is a great idea.
Thank
I'll just,
you.
like, put that out there. Can we go back to the memberships and kind of explain what benefits per tier?
All right. So Scribe, it starts at $29 annually, a month, and then $331 annually. Shared workspace, unlimited coffee and tea, early event access, $5 off workshops and contests. That's ideal for just the beginner. Guild is our next level, all Scribe benefits, plus priority workspace, Thirsty Street Cafe perks, collaboration nights, and waitlist access to curated dinners, which I mentioned. Vanguard is our $99 month, and it's all Guild benefits, plus complimentary workshop tickets, late night access, private event hosting, and invited seating at monthly curated dinners.
I'm going to jump in here really quick. So Heather mentioned kind of the inspiration for this, had the hours were open till 2 in the morning. I am not a fan of 2 in the morning anything. So we are going to have some late hour access. It'll be 9 to midnight. It is going to only be available for Vanguard and Alchemist circles, and you would need to reserve it the day before so that we can make sure that one of us can be down there in that time frame to be there. But that is the option for that.
And then our Alchemist Circle, which is our inclusive, only 10 founding members. They get maximum access, recognition, quarterly founders dinners on top of the 10 dinners already, guest passes, and a founder gift upon joining. So those are the different levels. But again, anybody can pop in and check it out. Ultimately, what we would like to do is create the space that you would be able to access using your own phone code. So it changes every time you would use it, but creating the security and the spot so you could go any hour based on what your level of membership was. You would have, so we would have an app that you would check in and you would say, these are the hours that I want to utilize my membership this month. And then you could go during those hours and you would just literally have access through your phone.
Mo's got a question.
Yeah, Mo.
You kind of answered this question because I was going to ask, how are you going to monitor?
Yeah, so.
But for instance, like say 50 people want to show up at 11, does it then show up like that this time is not available?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we would ask them to go on the website or the app to kind of see, a spot and they'll be notified, right? If you're a member and maybe, or even if you're like, I just want to drop in, you would go to Quill online and just say, there's 2 spots open right now. You would reserve them and you would go to Quill that way.
The space can hold 21 people.
That's with the door closed, but in the summer hours when the weather's nice, we'll probably have another 10 to 15 spaces outside.
Someone who knows all about memberships and tiers and circles.
Yeah.
My question is not about that, though. It's just, when do you plan on having this operable and like ready to go?
Oh, okay. I love that you asked that.
Your microphone if you hear you want to be. So you and Heather need to share a microphone.
Which one?
Yours, give. Okay, so we are having. Thank you. So we are having our very first event this Friday. Heather and I are going to be in there painting and making this as beautiful as our generated images are. But we thought, how fun would it be to invite people who just wanted to see it, learn more about it, to come and leave their mark on the walls. So you guys can come down Friday. You can leave your favorite book quote, line from a book, an author's quote, your favorite author, whatever you want to write on the wall to help us set the intention for this space. And then I think we're going to put it in the coffee shop wall. So we'll put I don't know if it'll be painted, but we'll cover it once we get that set up. So that's our first event. But we are looking at being open and operable April 1st, and we are starting to pre-sell memberships now. So.
Question.
Can you talk a little bit about the rules? Because I don't like to go to a place to write or work if there are people laughing and it's loud. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this is one of the things that we are kind of still working on and figuring out. We are going to have some sort of quiet hour time where it is pretty much, I don't want to use the word silent, but it's pretty quiet. Think library-ish times. There will be other times during the day where if you were, coming with someone to have a meeting or something, like where talking and all of that would be acceptable. But we are going to have phones on silent. We don't want large kind of group conversations happening. Now, you can reserve the space for a meeting and just block it off. That is one of the services that we'll have, and the members have discounted rates for that. But if you wanted to have a whole meeting, you could reserve the space for 90 minutes.
Yeah, so like if you're looking for a workshop space, right, which many of us do often, like something different, then you could reserve the space, and obviously that's different hours. We also will have lockers for our members, so if you wanted to, and we're not sure we're going to do like the whole lock your cell phone up thing, but if you wanted to leave maybe your writing materials or your creative materials in the space, we would provide a locker for you to do that as well. Any other questions? Lexi?
So will the space be monitored by somebody at all point, like at all time, even if the alchemist can go in?
Right now, yes. It will be monitored by someone.
Yeah, so either one of us will be there or one of paid staff that will be there. And then when it's not monitored, our security system will have security and cameras within the space as well. So it will be monitored all the time, and that's the setup security. Also, membership comes with when you sign up for membership, it's an application process. So we do have like quick background checks, nothing too fancy, but we do put background checks, and it's for the purpose of everyone's safety, right? So we know who's coming and going in the space. Also with the app, we'll be able to log in. We'll know who's in the space, and you will too. You'll see people who's in your space, in your community when you're there.
Emily's got a question in the back.
So how many total members are you looking at having within the tiers?
Yeah, I think we figured that it's a possible of 75 total members to be able to access the space and honor all the things that we have said. So it's very limited, exclusive. Our North Star is definitely to be able to open quills all over the country, and especially the places that we love to travel to. So we do think about like franchising this model, and it is a popular model. If you go to New York or other big cities, they do have these types of writing and creative rooms.
I find it interesting that when I watch you guys and I watch Ani and Sarah Beth and all these different folks are doing events. You guys do events, which I think is great, pop-ups, which is wonderful. So what was the catalyst or the impetus to say, okay, we like that model, but we want to have a permanent space, brick and mortar all the time?
So for me, it wasn't so much about having a brick and mortar space. My initial desire for wanting to bring this into the world, I have two personal stories, and they're kind of centered around that third space. The first one is I work from home, as I mentioned, right? And I have a beautiful office, and it is decorated exactly how I love it. And I work in there all day, and I write all day long. I write things about, resilience and trauma and grief and all kinds of stuff. But I also am an avid werewolf romance reader. And I have 3 drafts that are started of my own books. But I can't write them in my office. Like I'll work in there all day. And then when I'm done with work, there's no more desire to sit at that desk and create something that is as fantasy as my werewolf romance novel. So for me, this idea of the third space to go where I could be inspired by the creative vibe around me was really what kind of attracted me to this idea. The second story, and I know a few moms in here may relate to this, but I used to be a smoker years ago. And part of the reason for that was I would go out to my car and read my book on my phone and just sit out there and chain smoke because I didn't have to go back inside. You can't read a book in my house. There's the dog will bark, the kids will want something, the husband will want to talk to me, the TV's going. I don't have like a reading room. I don't have a cool space in my house. Yeah, a smoking room. So I would just sit out in my car. And when Heather showed me this and we were kind of dreaming up what it would look like, I was like, oh my gosh, I could have went and paid $5, had a cup of coffee, laid on the couch, and just read my book in peace. Because you can't, I'll be on my couch in the living room and I'll look up and there's dust under the TV. And I'm like, oh, I should get up and dust that instead of laying here reading my book, right? And so this idea of just having a space that was safe and creative to go be in was what attracted me. I don't even know if my events will actually fit in this space. I'll have to break them up into 2 time slots. But it was nice to know that if I wanted to have a smaller sort of intimate event, that we could.
What'd you call a werewolf? What'd you call that again?
Werewolf romance.
The things I learned about my friends at One Ring Cup.
Also, like I said, bringing our own special gifts. My gift that is of hospitality, wanting to care for, inspire, feed, offer you any comfort needs a space. And so that's probably also when I saw the pulp head in Bozeman, I was like, oh, I wanted to be there, but I can't drive to Bozeman every 2 hours. I mean, every day for 2 hours. So I just wanted to create something. And at the end of the day, if the model doesn't work, I think me and Danielle have a pretty awesome office.
Got time for a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Just curious off your smoking comment. Is there smoking allowed in this place?
I think outdoors because we're you would
In the summer?
because you would have obviously Thirsty Street.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing we plan on bringing is and thinking about is book launches, book signings, book readings. Any of those we would love to feature at Quill. Yep. We are gonna do our best to bring some famous authors from Montana there to do different workshops. I plan on doing writing workshops. So if you are in the process of writing, access to New York City publishers, all of those things that we have collectively, those gifts that we can share, we want to bring them to this community.
I got a last comment. So, as everybody knows, I'm probably the oldest person in this room, and I was raised in an era where you had one job and you did that your whole life. You had one lane of traffic, and that's what you did. And then what COVID came, and it really inspired people to think outside the box, add businesses, become entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs. And so now I see all these people that have multiple businesses, multiple streams of income, and it's very inspiring to an old guy like me. So keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Right here.
Have you talked to the gal that opened late night chapters?
Yes, we have.
Okay, good.
Yeah, our goal is to partner with all the bookstores. Yes, absolutely.
She is really interested in bringing a lot of people and a lot of authors to her space as she's new. But that was a great one.
She was actually, and thank you to Mehmet and to Elizabeth Hansen, were 2 of the references and that were advocates for us to actually get this space because a lot of people applied to get this little 500 square feet. And she told us we just kept coming back to you guys and what you were creating and how it would fit within what we are here. So, yeah. There was a lot of yeses along this journey. Like, I kept on throwing but what about this? And what about this? And it's like, oh, and that, there you go. And that, there you go. And that, there you go. So, yeah, so I was like, okay, here we go. And, I will say this, it is so, I've become so passionate about it. And of course, the Worthy Ranch and other things that I did resign from my full-time job last Friday from St. John's. Which has been a lot. Yeah. I know it's news for a lot of people in here. Just happened, but yes, it has been a long time coming. But Quill really pushed that door open, and so I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
And then for me, I did not resign from my full-time job. I am still very much Resilient Stories, but Quill for me was just almost like a natural just addition to just add into that. Yeah. So we're gonna have writing contests, which is one of the things I had loved but wanted to bring to Resilient Stories, but it didn't fit that space. It just wasn't right for that. And so this will give me an avenue to pursue some other creative things.
Quill magazine.
Yeah, and a Quill anthology. That's one of the prizes.
And we really, are passionate about helping people get published, right? And it's just so hard. I'm doing the traditional route, and I've looked at the other routes. I know how hard it is to get published. And so we want to help you, inspire you through that trajectory and provide as many resources as we can as well.
Super cool. So last question, the Million Cups question. What can the Million Cups community do for you?
Okay, so we are obviously brand new. So we kind of had a lot of things that we wanted help with, but I've narrowed it down to, thank you. I've narrowed it down to 2. So first of all, since we are brand new and there's nothing like this here, we would love your help just kind of spreading the word and telling people about us. And the second one is we are looking at all of these kind of technical pieces of having the security and these apps and these reservation things. So if you have one you use, or you know how to build one, or anything like that, we would love to know what you're currently using. So, and
we do have a Facebook page. So if we haven't invited you, please go to Quill House of Ink, and our event is actually on there as well.
How about a big hand? That's cool stuff.